Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Geekverse review. I am the Clown Prince podcast. Trust now. Went with that because I haven't done it well. It's my OG name, and I had no nickname because there's just so much to pick from. But yes, here I am. It is a solo review. Myself is reviewing. Myself, whatever it may be. I'm gonna about to review The Boys season 3, the first 3 episodes. Next week I'll review episode 4, and then after that Taylor will be joining us. Taylor's on a little vacation for Jurassic World. He'll be back for that. I think he's pre-recorded some stuff, so you're gonna hear that little bugger throughout the week. But I'm super excited when he gets back to hear his thoughts because man, what a fucking wild season. I'm going to get into it. The links are down below. Everything, how you support us, how you find us, our Patreon. Our Patreon is the best way to support us because you get more episodes that way. Side quests, retrospectives, the extra newscasts. You guys, we break it down time. You guys literally pay for those things and help us get the time so we can edit, have those newscasts. We've been having lots of fun lately. As you've seen, we've had like different combinations of people because Jessica's back more and Dylan's back more. Their schedules have opened up, so it's been a good time. So head over there. Also supporting us, you get exclusive episodes, early episodes. You can join After 9, our call-in show, our monthly one, which I'm not sure the day of the next one was, but sometime in June we'll be doing that. And yeah, social media, watch that because we got a busy few weeks. This next week is crazy. Miss Marvel, Obi-Wan, Summer's Game Fest, Xbox Game Conference, Strikers Cup, the Geek First Retaliation event's gonna be dropping. Myself and Taylor Field versus Tyler Saris and Kirkland Patzer for the team titles. Like I keep forgetting, there'll be newscasts. There's a Black Adam trailer, just wild. So if you like what we do, follow us on social media and head down below and find everything we do. Now, oh, excuse me. Now, now, The Boys, season 3, 1 to 3 episodes, right? One, as always, just gotta thank Amazon. Thank you for dropping it at a brisk. I feel like it's getting earlier and earlier because I remember I thought last time it was like at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. PST, but this dropped like right at 6:30 p.m. my time. And it's like, man, so good. It's like, who cares if it drops on Friday? Drop it early. Disney, Netflix, follow. Just drop these things at reasonable times, you know. But that's just a minor complaint. But Amazon makes it so good, and that's why I can't wait for Lord of the Rings. So, The Boys. If you don't know, if you're new to the podcast, you haven't heard my thoughts before. I absolutely love the blows. There's some blows in this episode. I'll tell you that much. But The Boys, I sound like a broken record, but the way I describe it is it's Watchmen meets Deadpool, and I fucking love it. Loved season 1. I thought season 2 was even better, a step up. I can't remember what we rated, but I think I may have gave season 2 like a 9.5 or something because some stuff with the Deep, which we'll talk about the Deep as well. But all in all, this show, it's one of my most anticipated things that comes out. It's so done, it's so well crafted, the acting, the shock moments, the story, just all in all, I really enjoy it. And luckily, as we usually do, I'm going to give you my non-spoiler thoughts, and then we'll get into spoilers, and I'll give you a warning, etc. Because I know just the first 3 episodes have dropped, but still they're a full hour, so people might not be done. Just want my overall thoughts. I'm pretty much thinking the same thing here. I don't see a dip in quality. I see I don't want to say an uptick because the show's so crazy, but in the first third, because I paused in the first 13 minutes, maybe the craziest thing I've ever seen. Now, I did see Alice Garland's Men this year, so I still think that's number one. But as far as TV shows go, I don't know. And if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about in spoilers, but it's just fucking crazy what happens here and the things they pull off. So I think it's definitely uptick in the crazy raunchiness, and I think that if anyone likes the political side of the show, which I know people might get mad, oh, superheroes, it's like this this show's all about superheroes and politics. Like lots of other shows touch upon politics and Star Wars, DC, Marvel. I'll get that out of my show. This has been political since day one, and it's even more so because this season it feels like it's all about. It's always been about power, but this more so than ever, it's just a grab for power, a power vacuum of okay, who's gonna rise the top between the boys, the superhero department bureau, Homelander, the Seven, some other people we're learning about, and it feels intense. It feels like right away when you get in, tensions are high. Except the first episode I really liked because it's a lot more calmer. I won't give any spoilers. It just feels like here's one mini spoiler. It's been a year since season 3, so it feels like a lot of the dust has settled, and it feels like there's this kind of nice outlook of man, there could be a light at the end of the tunnel, and that goes away very quickly, much like it always does in The Boys. But it's just this power vacuum. Okay, who's gonna do what? Who's gonna blink first? They're setting all these things up really well. I'm liking most of the storylines going on so far. Yeah, and they just have crazy shit. But I will say, if you were someone that watched because you like the superhero stuff and the action stuff and like the political stuff, the kind of Game of Thrones power moves and everything. If the raunchy sexual, nudity or jokes stuff like that or situations you didn't like the first season when the girl's getting she's having her face ridden or other way around, a guy's she's riding someone's face and she crushes it. That to me is still the maybe the peak of how I guess it's more just a I don't know where I. It's definitely crazy, but then I just think about what just happens. Like, is that crazier? I don't know. But if that stuff you kind of go, oh, that's my least favorite stuff to show, you may have a problem this season because I feel like they're going even more so. But it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I like where we're going right now. It seems like we're gonna have like a slow build to a certain character. I can just say this is a Soldier War character, Jesse Ackles. You get to see him in these first 3 episodes, but it feels like we're really kind of parlaying that out, which I don't mind. There's lots of characters. That's one thing this show has to juggle. It's like a Stranger Things, like a Game of Thrones. There's tons of characters. They introduce more characters. But so far, I feel like everybody's getting a right amount of time and everyone has a story. I will say, again, I'll talk about more in spoilers. I feel like Queen Maeve is just very much on the sideline. I don't know what it is with whether it's the actress they don't like I wouldn't say she's busy, but it feels like even in these first 3 episodes, she has one moment, but I feel like all these other characters are getting highlighted and she's just always kind of on the side, and it's weird because season 1 I thought, oh, we'll get her more eventually because she's a main character. There's a big plot point that happens, but season 2 she's kind of not sidelined but just kind of there. She had a big role and it feels like it's gonna be similar there. So I feel like that's kind of a con, but yeah, honestly, my cons aren't huge right now. I'm enjoying it. There's lots of twists and turns, lots of shocks. Not even like the shocking, like oh my god, the sexual stuff. Just there's some things I didn't see coming that they did, and I kind of see how they kept it a secret. So if you like, what can I say? If you like the boys, love the boys, this is more of the same, and it's the same quality, which is good. Doesn't feel like a step down. You know exactly where you're going from episode 1. I don't know the result of that, but there's going to be some twists and turns along the way. But you know what the end point is. Sees the episode 1 ends in a way of a conversation between two characters, pretty much just laying it out of what's going to happen, and there's delaying of that event that's going to happen but you know that's the route we're going. There's only one end to this story, and it's not good for a few people. But if you like that, as far as like how's rank as the other seasons, I gotta wait and see, obviously, because there's so much going on. But I will say that each episode ends in a very particular way that it's like, wow, okay, where are we going with this in the best way? Of they introduce a new element, a new storyline, especially episode 3. It's like, man, this is going to be a buggy situation. So that's my non-spoiler thoughts. I recommend it. If you like The Boys, go watch it. If you've never seen The Boys, go back and watch season 1. I'd say for the most part, if like I said before, if you're a superhero connoisseur, if you like just superhero stuff, definitely watch it. Because at first when I never heard about The Boys until a fan, Marvel Zombie Dude. Not sure where you are, man. I hope you're still listening because he deleted his Twitter years ago because I hate this place. And I go, well, you know what? You're not wrong. If I didn't have to promote some stuff, might be the same case sometimes, but also some good thing can come from social media, like sharing injustices and things like that and good stories. So, but he was the one that said, oh man, when you see The Boys, you've seen nothing yet. And he was completely right. I do think like if you're very squeamish and don't like raunchy stuff or very violent stuff, then yeah, maybe this isn't for you. But I recommend this to most superhero fans because it is a great breaking of the fourth wall. We had seen this before, so I'm not dropping spoilers, where they were making that Dawn of the Seven movie, and they do a whole like joke about the Snyder cut and the whole like, oh yeah, there was a different version of this movie, but we went back and got reshoots, and it was like released the Bork cut or whatever it was, and they make this is like a Myers but they make this great joke where. You know what? I will save it just in case because there's some fucking weird shit. But they're always very on the nose and on the like the oh why am I can't even think of the pulse. My God, it is early here. By the way, it is early, but they're always on the pulse of superhero kind of conversations going on, whether it's movies, TV shows, just kind of ideas around them. So they're always clever. They're always in the know. It doesn't feel out of date. It feels like these episodes were just made, like right now, like yesterday, and then put out. So Lots of good references, lots of good developments too with characters we've been asked for. Like I said, other than May, for me, I'm interested to talk about some of these. So that's my non-spoiler thoughts. We're gonna take our first ad break, and then when we're back, we will break down some of these spoilers of The Boys. So let's do this. And we're back. So let's just talk about the fucking thing that happened. So the first 13 minutes are crazy. So you get, and what I'll do is I'll probably end up with this little portion, and then I'm gonna break down the characters and groups and kind of do that. So so you get the movie of Dawn of the Seven. They're showing a preview for it. There's so much good shit here, but it's also about Stormfront, right? And that's some of the reshoots because she's revealed to be a Nazi. She's going to be in the movie, and those are the reshoots, and they're all fighting her. And it's all like The Boys. It's a suspended reality. It's not real. It's, Stormfront or Homelander lands down. He's pretty much breaking things off of Stormfront, like, it's time to kill you, you Nazi bitch, and all this stuff. And it makes it seem like the team are best friends, and they take her down, even though we know that's how none of it went down. None of it. Like, Homelander was completely on her side, trying to help out. First thing, turn around, big reveal, Stormfront in the movies being played by Charlize Theron, and I didn't know it was gonna be her, but I just thought it was gonna be somebody because they're hiding Stormfront's face for a little bit. Stormfront's always obviously dead, so they need like an actual actress to do it, and it's just so funny. Like, we just saw her recently in Doctor Strange. Here, this makes sense because she has a connection to Seth Rogen. Like, she did that movie. What was it? This is a movie that this is a rom-com. Everyone really, really liked. Like, they loved. It was one of those movies people really propped up to me, and I liked it, but I did not like run away head over heels with it. But it was great to see her. That was fun. It was right away a good moment of like chicks being like, man, you don't know what you're gonna get with The Boys. Jump 10, 11 minutes later, you really don't know what you're gonna get with The Boys. So Butcher and the boys have Huey's with that I think this is the name, the Superhero Investigation Bureau, whatever. But anyways, he's with the Bureau, right? And we found out last season that the Bureau is tainted. The person that's running it is a soup, and they have their kind of own means. It's not the clean way that Huey wanted to do things, and we get to see that more and more throughout these 3 episodes. So Butcher and the boys are working with the Bureau. They're trying their best. He's had a year, they say, of not drinking, no drugs, not killing soups and stuff. So how this gets set up is they just want them to spy on the superhero, get some pictures, see what he's up to. He is, without the suit, an Ant-Man type. He can shrink. I don't know if he can grow, but he can shrink. Your introduction to this character is Frenchie, and I'm forgetting her name. I know she was in the Suicide Squad. I'll come back to it. But anyways, they're investigating. They're going to get pictures. The first introduction you get to this Ant-Man like character is he's fucking a Barbie, and he's like, yeah, imagine if it had a vagina. Right away, you're just like, what's going on? And it's so funny because it was messing with my head. I could not understand what was happening. I'm looking at this before it was like known that she was a Barbie. Kimiko, okay, I thought so, but I wasn't sure. But Kimiko and Frenchie, they're looking at this. But the proportions, because he's shrunken to the size of a Barbie, and he's in Barbie's like playhouse, and he's fucking her. And I was caught off. I was like, what's happening here? I don't. And then he grew like, oh, okay. I must have been tired late last night because I watched stuff for the newscast. So then later on, I don't know if he's gay, bisexual, whatever it may be. He's with his partner. It's a male. They're doing some coke, and he's like, yeah, I'm ready, babe. And, he throws his dick on the table. And I just knew this is what was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. They didn't say anything. We just knew it was going to happen. And I'm sure you guys were the same because with the boys, after season 1, there's fucked up shit. But even after season 2, it's just like, okay, when you think about what's going to happen in the situation and you think about the worst, the grossest, the crazy stuff, that's usually what happens. Because lots of shows you get that, you're like, oh, imagine if this happened. And you go, no, they can't do that. That's not the boys. He throws down his dick. The superhero shrinks. He decides to climb in his pee hole. And he's like touching. You literally get like a POV, an inside shot of the dick, and you got the superhero in the dick, and he's like touching the sides. He's like rubbing. He's pleasuring his boyfriend and whatnot. And again, this is where it's not a bad thing, I guess, because I just knew, man, something bad is going to happen with this man, his boyfriend, and the dick. And that's what happened. Because while he's in the dick, he has to sneeze. He can't control it. So when he sneezes, he returns back to regular size, and it splits his penis and it splits the boyfriend's penis and entire body in half. When he comes back up his full form, he's covered in his blood. Boyfriend's dead. That's it. It's very much like the face. It's exactly like the face sitting thing where they're doing stuff for pleasure, and he killed them, right? Hopefully he's learned not to go in other men's penises in the future, because if you just sneeze and turn back, that's very risky. But I could not believe what I was seeing. First 13 minutes. I'm not saying I was never going to believe on the boys, but the fact that in the first 13 minutes we got that told me everything I need to know about what was going to happen this season. And we're going to see more crazy stuff. And man, it's just fucking wild. It's yeah, I love it. I get if people don't. It was very comedic, very over the top, but that's what you want in the show. And then after that, Frenchie Kimiko are trying to take him down. Butcher comes in, he gets small, and one of my favorite parts is they capture him. He's trying to do the Ant-Man Thanos thing, where he's the theory he was gonna go up Frenchie's ass and take him out, and then Kimiko literally had to dig into his ass and get him out. Butcher gets him, throws him in a bag of cocaine, like a little bag, and just shakes it. So you got to think like, it's like, imagine myself with this room that I'm in right now, and it's filled with cocaine. That's what happens as a little guy. It's weird stuff. But again, great scene because they pour him out. Butcher, who would have done all this in the past, has a chance to take him out, just literally squash him, and he doesn't. Because the idea is that he is trying to set a better example for Ryan. Ryan obviously is the kid of Homelander and Becca when Homelander raped her, and we got all that happen last season, right? And he's trying his best to set an example, and that's one of the best things too. While they're on this mission, they're showing him on Amazon, and he's like looking at like Connect 4, like all these like kids games, and these first few episodes, it's great to actually see Butcher change, because I thought they were going to do something where it's like, oh, you've been clean for a year, and then they're going to do this big switch around where it's like, oh, he has, and he's secretly been killing Soups, all this stuff. But it seems like, no, he has been clean. He has been trying to make life better for, you know, just Ryan per se, not himself, because he wants to kill these guys. But we kind of established this with Becca last season, that you got to be good with this kid, because you don't want him to be a Homelander, right? So I feel like Butcher's put himself in a perspective where, okay, if I can be good, I can kind of portray that to Ryan and find some sort of example. He's doing it for Becca, but also just the right of the world, because he has Homelander's powers. So you don't want two of them. You don't want another one. You don't want something worse. So I like that the whole 3 episodes, it's trying to show, okay, Butcher had changed. Obviously, by the end of these 3 episodes, things are not going good for Butcher in that situation. But I like that that's what's been happening the past year, right? And even Huey says to him, like, oh, we've won, and everyone's trying to be happy. And he's trying to say, like, move on. Like, you can still do this, but just be happy, have a life. And it kind of just seems like Butcher doesn't buy. He still feels like, okay, when's the shoe going to drop? And it does later on. It does. But the first episode, when it doesn't, everyone's just happy. It feels like war times are over. I think they literally say war times are over. And it just feels like, it feels very much like The Dark Knight Rises, in the sense of, at the beginning you have peace, right? But you know it's kind of a fake peace. You know it's not going to last, because one, of course, we know Bane's coming. But really, the peace is built on a lie. It's Harvey Dent's lie. So you know eventually when this truth comes out, it's all going to go to shit. So it's not like Homelander's dead, Stormfront's dead, we got all the bad Soups up, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we just kind of put a bandage on the bullet hole, but that bullet hole is going to start bleeding profusely soon. So I like everything with Butcher. So talking about that bullet hole, Homelander. And of course, I'll get back to Butcher, because there's some stuff at the end there. So Homelander, they set him up last season as far as he's going to wreck shit, and finally that video came out of him not saving the people on the plane, and him pretty much just taking Mav and letting them all die. And he is obsessed with his public personality, so they go, okay, you don't fall in line, we're going to release this video. And he's crushed. Stormfront is supposedly dead at that moment, and all these things. So the first episode is all just Homelander eating shit sandwiches and having to like the taste. Because this is what I like, that, of course, Homelander, one of the best characters around on TV movies. I don't care. He cares about these people, but also he just has such an ego where you think about, you want him to die. You want him to be bad. I don't ever feel bad for him. But if you put in the perspective of thinking about him being the hero of the story in his own mind, at the beginning of that movie, when they're watching Dawn of the Seven, he is sitting in the premiere watching them, and they're saying all these lines of Stormfront and taking her out and killing her and all this stuff. You got to think that he's sitting there, one, watching this fake version of everything that gone down, and two, at this point we thought Stormfront was dead. She's not dead, but she's still pretty bad off. he's just watching this scene probably over and over and over of the Seven taking out Stormfront. And then after that, they get this cut of, we saw this in the trailers, but him just going to all the news outlets, just saying, "Oh, well, how'd you not know she's Nazi?" Like, I'm just a man, and I fall in love with the wrong person, and from crisis there's change and all this stuff. But it's just him saying it over and over, and you get like 20 different shots of him saying it to the camera, and he just looks like he's gonna snap. And that's the biggest thing they show through episode 1 and episode 2. Episode 2 kind of goes away, but his power is gone. Like, his pull is gone. He'll say, like, "We're gonna do this," and then they're kind of like, "Yeah, but remember that videotape we have?" Or they'll be just kind of more subtle of like, "You sure you want to do that, Homelander?" And then he'll just kind of like, "Yeah, no," and then he walks off. They make Starlight co-captain, and he can't do anything because he goes to pitch it, and I forget his name, but Giancarlo Esposito, she's like, "Oh, we'll talk about it. We'll take you into consideration. Let's have another meeting." And he's always trying to save face as Homelander walks away. He's like, "Oh, okay, like, I guess we can try and get a meeting. I'm just very, very busy," even though a second ago he was just begging to get a word in and talk. So you can see each part of his life, power is being stripped away, right? He's feeling less and less important. His numbers are so down because the actions of Stormfront, he's linked to them, and the public is looking at Starlight. They say, like, no one's ever got a 96 approval before she has that. So he's seeing everybody go above him, and he's below, and he's trying to get any power he can back in any sort of way. Like the stuff with A-Train, it's interesting because A-Train, shitty character. He's helped out the good guys a few times, but still questionable. Like the Deep, very questionable. But he still doesn't have a speed, right? And he's eating lots. He's eating the same way as like a Flash or a Quicksilver, where you got to eat all these calories because you're running so fast. And Homelander goes like, "Yeah, but why are you doing that? You're not as fast anymore." He's like, "What do you mean?" And he pushes his stomach and he's pointing out that he's gaining weight. And every time Homelander sees him, they'll be happy. They'll hug him in public, and he'll bring his ear and like, "Your fucking gut's so huge." And he's like saying it like the most demeaning, like bullyish way. And he's just it's just like the only way he can get any power back whatsoever. Now, he threatens A-Train, he threatens other characters, so they still know at the end of the day he could snap, and that's where we're getting to the ending of season or episode 3. I keep on saying season 3, but it's great that you slowly see that all gone. I think the tipping point too is he has this birthday coming up, right? And he wants this big celebration. There's a few things that happen on this day. I love the ad where he's just like, "Oh, and Judi Dench is going to be here," and he lists off, I can't remember all these just random celebrities. He didn't say One Direction. There's some sort of band, but he just lists it was I think it was Smash Mouth or someone like that. Like, just like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, in the best boys way possible. But so Mav is co-captain in public. He's embracing it, just saying, "I need somebody. She was the person I mentor. I'm happy to have her." Yet, da 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 da. So he has this very misogynistic musical number for Starlight. He wants her to perform "Happy Birthday" in the Marilyn Monroe JFK way. Very sexual, very like, "Hey, we're banging on the side" sort of way. And then he also has these like Starlight doubles that are all dressed very cantily and sexual and stuff like that. And she's like, "I'm not going to do this." And he's like, "Yeah, it's my birthday, And she's like, "What you do the same for me?" And he's just kind of, "Oh, but this is a team building thing." And then John Carter's like, if she doesn't want to do it, she does not have to do it. And then it's just kind of put to bed, and Homelander has to walk away, all mad and pouty and everything like that. And this is his birthday. And the tip of the iceberg is Stormfront. So Stormfront, I was surprised she is alive. She's just like, and again, this is somebody, I had this with Marvel, DC, never read the comics. The same thing with Invincible, that I know people always say, "Oh, read the comics. If you like to show you like the comics." I probably will when this is all done. I just like having a few things that I don't know exactly where it's going. I like being surprised. That's the same thing with Invincible. There's so much stuff where it's like, "Oh yeah, that," like, it's beat for beat, but it's like good. I want to be a little surprised. The comics will always be there. So not sure if this happened, because I'm pretty sure Stormfront was a dude in the comic book. So they've changed some things. And I think the more I've talked to people, is like the show as it's gone on has been more loosely about the comics. So that's fine. Oh, excuse me. So Stormfront is alive. She's not comatose, but she looks like she's maybe paralyzed and can't move. Her face is as fucked up as before, but she's all healed up. They had this great scene where Homelander's really upset, and he's just talking about how mad he is, and she's like, "Oh, let me, like, I can help you out, like, I can calm you down." He's like, all right, I guess. He almost seems like, if you really want to do this, I'll do it. He unzips his pants and she's like jerking him off while he's talking. And then she starts being like, you're going to be, the alt-right leader. You're going to be our Uber mentioned stuff. And he pulls away again. He's like, I'm not into that. And he like that shit. Like she still has this idea that he's the perfect blue-eyed, blonde hair, like Nazi leader. And he's like, no, like, fuck, like, I don't want to do that still. And I don't know whether it's because of that, whether it's because she is in so much pain, but then it's announced that Stormfront commits suicide. So he sees that on the news and he fucking snaps because he's just like, it's my birthday. Like, because earlier in the scene, he goes to her, he's like, you know what special day it is? And she's not all there. Whether it's not that she's not caring because the Homelander not wanting to be Nazi stuff, or she's just simply out of it because of pain, she's not there. And of course, for Homelander, that's not good enough. So there's a situation where he sees it on the news. While he sees it on the news, there's a girl that was going to jump her, and he's supposed to go talk her down. And he just gets in the first time this conversation about how he's tired of all these things and how his birthday's not even real. It's just a date given to him by the marketing team and all these things, right? He's very expressing how frustrated he is in the current situation to this person that he doesn't know so he can get away with it. And again, to get power back, he tells her to jump, and she's like, no, now I think I don't want to jump. I'm all right. I've gone through. He's like, no, you're gonna fucking jump, and he's just like intimidating her, and he uses the laser eyes to be like, you're gonna jump, and she jumps and stuff like that. And then again, you see these little ways of him trying to get power back, and then finally he snaps where on his birthday, Starlight and him starts giving this nice fake speech that they always do, scripted, and we'll get into Starlight in that reality show because that's some great shit right there. The speech and yet and Homelander's great, my mentor, and then Homelander. I can't remember how this conversation happens because I watched episodes 1 and 2 last night and then 3 this morning. But he pretty much just tells her like fucking stop or fucking enough. Like he just snaps for a moment. And like, what's gonna happen? And they show the crowd, they show Giancarlo Esposito, they show the agent who she's great. That's what I want to talk about in spoilers, where they're talking about Dawn of the Seven or the non-spoiler story. And the director Burke, there's a sex scene of them in the bathroom, and she's riding him on the toilet. And two things: one, she asks him to pull her hair, and she's like, "No, actually, pull it out." She pulls it out. She gives like, when he pulls out her hair, she gives like the best like porn like fake like orgasm scream. Like kudos to the actress who's just like playing it up, but. As she's writing him, she's just like, "You're such a piece of shit director. Tony Gilroy had to come in and make all your shit good," which is great because I know people love Rogue One, but it's always this weird thing where they talk about Lucasfilm and people want creatives to have power and directors to have a vision, everything like that. But everyone will say Rogue One's their favorite Star Wars movie. It's like that's literally a movie where the director got all his power taken away and he was forced to sit there while another guy directed his movie, and that's why I love them calling out. Again, always on the bubble. But she's watching all shocked and he just snaps it and he just goes into this diatribe about how he's being controlled, how he doesn't feel like he can be himself, and he's like, and he even says like, and I'm like a fucking god, I'm so powerful, and look at all you're don't compare to me, you're much weaker than me, and you're first like, how's this gonna go? But then he, I think, doesn't mean to do it. I don't think so, because in the next episode, they tell him that his numbers shot up like 20%, then they shot up like 36%. Like, this was really popular because he's pretty much talking all like the really right, like you'd say like mega sort of people in their world. But he's just kind of saying, at first it sounds like he's saying all humans are pathetic, but he more gets to the point of, hey, if they can do this to me, powerful Homelander, take everything away from me, bully me, control me, what could they do to you? And then that's kind of snap of people now. I feel like he's going to get some really bad people following him, and that's where he's like, oh, I was just being myself, and that's what made people love me. Instead, these past year where I'm trying to be the old Homelander, and my numbers are going down, people don't like me anymore. So that moment, it's kind of like the light bulb, because we had that at the end of season 2 where he's jerking off on top of the city. He's like, I could do whatever I want. I'm Homelander. But that's really just a power play for himself to make himself feel better. He can't do that, and that's why after this next ad break, we're going to talk about the shit that's going to hit the fan. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So that's the thing. He kind of realizes, hey, being myself, light bulb, I could kind of do what I want. People like me. But then he also takes that the other way where I should just be doing what I want all the time. And now this whole tape thing, because he wants to tie it into Starlight. Starlight, we'll talk more about her and Huey, but Starlight is on this reality show, which is not reality at all. It's like American Hero or American Superhero, whatever it is. It's just America's Got Talent, and it's people competing. They go up and they get to be on the 7, right? And Homelander's big idea is we're gonna name one. He doesn't want this one person because he feels like it's racist because he's like, oh, you can't have someone named like Captain Al Qaeda or something, like we're all Americans and stuff. So of course he's being a piece of shit again. And then his second pitch is, okay, we're gonna go with someone else, and then we're gonna bring in the Deep back. He's gonna be back on the team. Who's been doing this whole press tour of being, coming back. He was in that cult last season, if you remember, and then now he has this weird wife and everything like that. But he's done a book, he's doing like a mini series, all these things that kind of get his public image back. And he's somebody that's like, okay, I want him back in there just because the Deep's someone he could use and stuff like that to his own advantage. And she's like, no, because obviously, he sexually assaulted her, all this stuff. There's a lot of history there, but he's like, no, you're gonna do it. That's the way it's gonna be. She says, no, you don't want that tape getting out, do you? And then he just says, release it. And that's the worst thing you can do, because then he has this whole diatribe about you can release it, doesn't matter, because either, I want to be loved, but if I can't be loved, I'll be fucking hated, and I'll destroy everything. I'll take New York literally take it off the map. I'm going to go to the Pentagon, I'm going to go to the White House. So now he's at the point where, and this is the point that they probably were, where they got like a year of Homelander on the leash, right? And that was like too much. And I think even Starlight saw it coming. Not that she's on Homelander's side, but she would see him slowly slip. And I feel like that's why she was not nicer to him, but just a bit more trying to play ball the first 3 episodes a little bit. But episode like the birthday in episode 3 is really where it goes away, because it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we got him under his leash, but we don't want him to snap. And unfortunately, he hasn't snapped, but he's at that point where he could snap, because either you're going to take on the leash and he's going to get pissed off, or you're going to let him off the leash and he has nothing to lose. So now this whole tape that they had over him, he doesn't care, because he's like lived a year of people hating him and stuff. So it seems like the public image is very important to him, but now it's been a year of just being pounded on that he doesn't care that much anymore if he's going to lose the public. So we're in the worst situation now with the Homelander, because he's just, again, bullying people. He has this terrible scene, which, again, I feel bad for the Octopus. I don't feel bad for the Deep, because the Deep's a piece of shit character who, again, he helped with get that tape and everything like that. But still, we still need some more come to Jesus, him to be a better person, because he's still just an asshole. It still just feels like he's not really learned, and I'm hoping that's going to happen. But they're having a welcome back dinner, and they're serving nothing but fish, which is obviously disrespectful to the Deep, because he's friends with fish. He talks to them, so he's not eating them. And there's a sex scene where the Deep is fucking his wife, and they're back in the 7 headquarters, and he looks at the glass of the water, and it's the Octopus, and the Octopus is kind of just like, they're insinuating that the Octopus and him have like got it on before or something, because the Octopus is like pulsing and stuff like that, and he's talking about using all his wet arms around his dick. Who knows? I'm sure we'll get some sort of origin story at some point, but they established that he knows this Octopus. Homelander tells him to fucking eat it. He doesn't really want to, because he's talking to fish the whole time. The Octopus is like, no, like, I got a family, like, please, like, I'm your friend and everything. Even when he goes to eat him, the Octopus is like pushing away, but his wife texts him, say, you better fucking eat that octopus. So I'm hoping that I hope he gets beat down and so embarrassed that the turn does happen, really like a turn, and he's not an actual piece of shit anymore, and he helps out the team big time. But yeah, so he's just forcing everybody to do things. It's like, because he hasn't had power in a year, he has to go overblown and do things more. And I don't know what's going to happen. Now, eventually, I feel like they are going to release it or something, but that's why Maeve had seen this. This was her big moment of, she saw this happen, and she's kind of figured out, okay, well, this tape thing, again, it's only going to work for so long. So now her and Butcher, they're looking for this weapon, and this weapon that's going to take out, it's like a big gun that's going to take out Homelander, because it took out Soldier Boy, who was like in the 80s or whatever. It's like we've seen before, they're Captain America, but it was like he was the huge superhero, unstoppable force you couldn't take out, and there's supposedly a gun. Now, I think what's going to suck is, like I said, I don't know how the story goes. We see Soldier Boy come out of ice or whatnot. I think the reveal is going to be that this gun didn't exist, and he like faked his death, or they put him on ice for some reason. So they're going to be looking for this gun, and it's not going to happen. Maybe that's how they release Soldier Boy accidentally. I'm not sure if they feel like Soldier Boy could help take Homelander down, because they might look at Soldier Boy and go, oh, hey, he was the top superhero then, maybe he could take him out. Even though right away, like, Soldier Boy, like, they're not setting him up to be Captain America like Homelander in season 1, where, oh, he's perfect. No, he looks like he's another shitty superhero. And Mallory tells a story about, they were at this war camp, and the superheroes payback, worst team ever. It's just, it had Noir on there, it had gunpowder, his like Bucky equivalent. It's like the Crimson Countess or whatever, this woman who can create fireballs, but just shows them being reckless. So superheroes always just been reckless. They're reckless. They're like killing their own people on the team, like Mike Mallory's team. They're doing all this stuff where it's just they're not superheroes. And even Soldier Boy, to extent, like there's a moment where him and Mallory are fighting. This is a flashback of younger Mallory, and she saves his life or shoots a guy, and he like gives her head nod. But before that, he's like, "You should smile more, honey," and like you're doing, you looking like that, you're doing a service being out here. So he's already misogynistic and an asshole. So that's I'm not sure which way they're gonna go. Soldier Boy's I think gonna be like bad, but like a not a great character to be on our team, but I just don't know what the end game is. But that's the idea, is they got to get this gun or this weapon, take him out. Now, maybe the weapon still exists. Maybe Soldier Boy is just a clone. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know about it, but as of right now, I feel like that could be bad, and they've realized, May's realized that, Butcher's realized that. He does slip later on because he gets introduced to this Compound V drug, or it has some sort of name where John Carlos Esposito's talking with someone I think is running for president or governor or senate, something, a powerful person. He's pitching them because what his idea is, he wants to get out of superhero business. He doesn't want the Seven stuff to be a thing in the future. He's like, he's tired of the politics, tired of dead hookers, tired of all this stuff. He'd rather it just be, hey, we're going to sell you these drugs, use them for your army, we get the money. And the good thing is, these people, the soldiers, they take them. After 24 hours, they're not superheroes anymore. So all that power, everything that they have going for them, they can't hold it over you because you're the ones with the drugs and stuff. So Butcher acquires some of these, and he uses this at one point to fight Gunpowder, who was played by Sean Patrick Flannery. They put him in makeup, but I heard his voice and I'm like, man, I fucking know that voice. I know, like, it has to be him. And I was talking with him, like, is it? And we're looking. And it's like some shots, no, but I'm like, that voice is too much, and it was him. But again, the fight, when it's kind of looking like Butcher's down now, he's kind of going back and forth if he wants to take these drugs. He goes to dump the drugs, but he takes it, fucks up Gunpowder. So he takes drugs, one, he kills Gunpowder, two, and then his whole mission is finding out about, like I was talking about, the story of Mallory, of what's going on. I like all this stuff. Again, it's a slow descent into Butcher. He's trying to be good. His arc right now in the 3 episodes we got ends with him telling Ryan to fuck off because he says, like the little kid, he's like, how can I look at you after what you did to my Becca? Because he's just going to leave the kid. He's just done with it, because what he's mad about is Mallory knows about this big weapon, and he's like, you could have taken out Homelander. We could have saved him from Ryan. We could have saved Becca. Like, I'll never fucking trust you again. He's emotionally hurt, so just like Homelander, because they're very similar, he takes it out on someone else. He takes it on this little kid. Ryan, like, stops him like a Superman. Like, Butcher's trying to move, and he can't. His eyes, like, light up. He takes off that necklace. I think it's from Becca, throws it. So Butcher, he's going down that bad path again. He's just pissed off because he knows that there's a chance he could have saved wife and, this adopted son from this life, and he didn't get the chance to. So Butcher, just like how Homelander is going to go down a bad route, Butcher's going to go down a bad route. I feel like he's going to get addicted to these drugs, perhaps, because they show he's having a bad reaction to him. That could just be the drugs in general, because he's talking to Hugh a moment at the end of episode 3. He about like, man, I really, not really screwed up, but just talking about like, oh, he's kind of expecting Huey to give him a bunch of shit for what happened, and Huey's like, no, I understand, and then Butcher throws up on him. So before we can really get into Huey, because what's happening with Huey is he's working for the Bureau, but as we saw last season, the head of it, I can't remember her name, I'm not going to derail you to go look it up, but the head of the Bureau is a soup, and she was a part of that, like, people were in there getting their heads popped off and destroyed, and they were being stopped. At one point, they could have took down all of Vought, and the person got their head exploded, and a bunch of people in court, and it, like, ruined everything. That's her. And I was wondering, like, how long are we going to draw this out? Because I remember in the trailer they showed something of Huey being like, we want to do it the right way, but there is no right way. We got to do it the bad way. And that's Huey's kind of pitch to everybody now, is he's just had a fucking enough, because he's done it the right way for a year. He's trying to go by books, but then it gets worse and people just keep winning. Like, he's just tired of losing. And even Starlight, which we'll get into here in a second, at the end of episode 3, it seems like she's kind of going down that route, because she goes, you can't do that. Like, there has to be another way. And she's like, or Hugh's like, yeah, but if we keep playing by the rules and doing things a good way, we're never going to get a leg up on them. Like, they're always going to be one step ahead of us. So something happens, which we'll get into, that I think she's kind of getting on board with that. they show him saying that in the trailer, right? So it's like, oh man, that sucks. We kind of know that, but I like that episode one. You get this see that they've become friends. Him and this the head of the bureau. I really like this actress so far. She's good because she comes off very friendly. She comes off like nosy, but then just in a very natural way of trying to get information. We're learning that she was adopted by Giancarlo Esposito's character because she was a soup, and it looks like she has a whole different name, a whole different backstory that we're gonna learn, right? And it looks like she came from this Xavier like school for the gifted. She had some incident where she popped off someone's head, so they're putting it all together. Episode one, someone keeps coming to her and calling her Nadia. Oh man, I should remember her name because I don't remember her real name or her fake name, but I remember the real name. And it's this guy who was her friend, and something bad happened to them as kids, and he wants us to expose it. And of course, she doesn't want that. So they get in the superhero fight. She blows off his head. Huey's there to see all this. So I like that episode one right away. We're getting into the shit. Okay, the bureau's also bad. It's corrupt. It's not like 3 or 4 episodes of, it's different when you're dealing with a series that is only 30 to 42 minutes, but it's full hour. So when we already know the twist, if we would have sat around like waiting, you could tell still a good story with it. But I was personally happy that we went right into it. Huey knows, okay, this place is fucked up too. He said he wanted to do things the right way and not be covered in blood and guts. That episode ends with the head of the bureau, who's supposed to be the good person, covering him in heads of guts. And I didn't say, but she doesn't know he's there. But it's just that parallel of, doesn't matter. What you thought was doing was right, not right. So he's taken this whole approach of, we just got to go below the belt. And that's Starlight too. We talked about the reality show. She gets offered to be co-captain. She doesn't really want to do it. Huey doesn't want her to do it, but they kind of think about the outer look of for little girls, everybody, because she's the first female to lead a team. So like to the public, the idea of what the 7 is, if she's on the lead, that could do massive things and that could help. So that's why she kind of reluctantly takes it. But there is part of her that wants to, because it's still something she's won her whole life. Despite her getting the 7, realizing it's a crock of shit, like the message of it, it's still, you are the leader of this massive team, right? She's doing these reality shows. They introduce a ex of hers, Supersonic, who I think his powers are just going to be like a Black Bolt, where he can speak and destroy things. He was a part of a boy band that used to date. That creates some good tension with Huey, because Huey meets her and him. They're talking. They're, of course, having a good time and chatting. Like, oh, she didn't used to be such a good girl. And he says that in like non-misogynistic way, just in a way that she used to be a party girl and they had fun. And he like gets close and like holds like, oh yeah, like I didn't know that. Like he's doing his best to like, this is my girl over here, right? I don't know where Supersonic's gonna go, because it was strange the first 2 episodes. He's like, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough, and she's like, you know what, go make some waves, like do some things, make some waves, and it'll pan out for you. She's pretty much like telling him to like get more popular so he could be on the 7, which I was like, no, you don't want to be on the 7. And she, in episode 3, she realizes that. But I thought for episode 1, 2, there was kind of a disconnect there. It kind of felt like she was buying into Vought shit. So that was, I don't know if it was just a little miswritten, or maybe there'll be more of that later on. But so far, it felt like a little off character type. I guess because the year's been good. So maybe she just thinks, oh yeah, like it'd be fine. But still, like, no, like shit could drop at any moment. You don't want people on this team. So I thought it was a little, that wasn't the greatest writing there. But anyways, she turns away at the end of season. She turns around in episode 3, so it's fine. I don't know if he's going to be. So he's on the team, and he says he was going to turn it down. She told him to turn it down, but he says someone needs to watch your back. I don't know if it's there to create a love triangle with her and Huey and him, or if he is going to be just a friend, or if he's going to be, which my worry is, like secretly bad or turned to bad to kind of like shit on Starlight. Like, if I lean one way, I think he's gonna be against her, and I don't know if it's from the start, or I don't know if he's gonna turn that way. Like one conversation with Homelander, and he might see, oh yeah, maybe Homelander is right, because she told him like Homelander is a killer, all these things, and he looked a little shocked. But I don't know. He also talked about how he did all this shit to get on this team, and he just wants to be on the team, right? So I feel like it's gonna go bad for Supersonic and Starlight. We'll see, but there's a good chance she might end up killing him. So at this point, they're doing this reality show where they bring in him, they bring in the deep, This is episode 3 where Homelander's high off his shit, and he's thinking about, one, he has all this power, but he also wants to keep building up his popularity. So at the end of the episode, he says, they start, he's like, oh, Deep, welcome to the team, but it wasn't my idea, like Starlight, she wanted to bring you on board, and all of us can forgive, because she exposed him, right? Like, all of us can forgive, we've all grown as people. And he's like, and it doesn't really matter because she's my girl now. And he's like, yeah, that's right. Me and Starlight are in love. He didn't talk to her about this producer or anything like that. We're in love. And when he says that to the camera, she's just shocked. I say, oh, can we do that again? Because she doesn't want anything of this. They showed these flashbacks of her in a beauty pageant, and she like had her arm behind her back, and she was really, anytime the judges would say something, she was really mad as a kid. And they do this again where Homelander's saying these things and her arms behind her back and she's pissed, and she's like, yeah, let's do that again, and she's all happy and saying all these things. And then with Homelander, just, yeah, we're in love, and she plants a kiss on him and they make out and everything like that. So it's all bad, like all bad situations, all bad things that are happening. So all these characters that want to do good, it's not going good for them. They're getting pushed to the worst situation now, and it's just gonna be a ticking time bomb. I think they are gonna do something where they get the better on Homelander, and that's what's gonna cause them to snap. I just don't know, is he gonna snap at the end of the season, or are they gonna save that for next season? I don't know, but they've set up some good things. I like where we're going. I'll pull up my notes for other things to shout out. I don't know, Frenchie and Kimiko, I like their storyline enough. I feel like I like it. It's my least interested part of the show. I like her and him, but she's just kind of having some more human experience, which is good. He has some stuff going on, which is fine so far. So it's nothing that I'm like, oh, that's just, it's not that I think is bad. I'm just not like looking forward to that right now, but I'm sure they could make it good. Marv, that was another kind of low point for me in the series, that they spent the last season telling us about how much he wants to be back to his family and being dad. And I do get it, because it's kind of similar to what they do, happens to soldiers in real life. Like when they get home and they can't get back into regular life. They're so used to wartime that they have to be doing something. Or it's also just the fact that I think this is what they're trying to do with Marv, that he still knows that there's bad shit going on, that it's when he's at house playing home, it's tough for him to be like, I could be helping out my friends right now, and I'm here, doing birthday parties, doing all this stuff, and I should be helping them. So it's tough, but I don't know if I loved how quick that storyline was. I loved how the Bureau was taken down quickly, but that storyline being, hey, Marv, he's kind of feeling, he's happy with his kids, but he's kind of feeling left out. And next episode, he's already back with the boys. It's like, oh, well, we spent a whole season of him wanting to get out. And so, I don't know. I wish that was prolonged a little bit, and I wish he got a little bit more screen time to explain that. So I was, I'll see, but I was a little kind of like, okay, that was a little easy just to get him back. And I like Marv as a character. I like the unit, but alas, that's what happened. Let's see. I think I've hit that thing. Let's see. Yeah, I talked about Butchered by and the toys I really like. I think I've talked about most of the stuff. A-Train, he has no speed. I should bring this up. So what he's kind of trying to do is republicize himself as a hero for the black community, but then multiple characters come up to him and be like, you're never for the, like, you've never talked about the black community, you've never really cared. And it's kind of, I feel like they compare him to the same way OJ in the trial for his murder. When you watch the documentary, there's this talk about like someone talked about OJ being black, and he's like, OJ's not black, OJ's OJ, like, and that was kind of the idea that OJ at that time, even when there's lots of racism, there's still racism now because people are fucking losers. But when at that time, when it was a bit more public, the reason he was accepted as a black man because he was so popular and so famous, his like fame like rose above his the color of his skin. People didn't care because like, oh, he's this great football player. That's kind of what they were doing with A-Train, and now he's trying to use and be like, oh no, I'm black, and he has like a new outfit to represent the black community, and everyone's like, this is not going to work because he doesn't have a speed, right? I really like the scene when he's talking to his brother, because he shows this video of the superhero overstepping his bounds and he killed this young black man. And they're kind of relaying it to a lot of the problems we've had with the police recently, where it's just like, white people, they'll just get arrested, slap on the wrist, where black people are going to be gunned down for fucking the littlest of things. And when you look into what actually happened, you go, oh, doesn't really make much sense how this ended up being the result. And they're kind of playing off that with superheroes. So, and he's saying like, this is the real difference you could be making. Like, come down to school, train my kids, but also you should talk about this. Like, if you are going to represent the community, this would be the way to do it, So I hope that happens, because A-Train, I think, is another character that needs some redemption. How we meet him, he ran through Huey's girlfriend and didn't really care about it. I can't even remember if he gave an apology, but I don't even know if the character really gave an actual heartfelt apology, So I'm interested to see where that goes. That's one where I'm like, okay, what's going to happen there? And I still feel like he is on the precipice of actually having a full good guy turn. He still wants that old life back, but again, he's just seeing that he can't get that life back. Every time he pitches, like, the people don't like him. Homelander's talking down to him, so we'll see where that's going. Yeah, and then the last part, I guess two last parts, is in that flashback. Yeah, what's his name? Soldier Boy's apparently dead. So far, I've seen what Jensen Ackles is doing. I like it enough. Jensen Ackles the past few years kind of become like a douchier guy, and then you also got Anthony Starr, who's been like arrested and douche this past year. So it sucks that some of these actors are not the greatest, but you gotta just separate it from the artist. And I told myself of okay, watching these characters, and good thing he's playing a douchebag because he has that rolled down. But yeah, I like it so far, but I want to know why I'm so invested in Payback and that character other than the legend. But I do think that show's going to get us there. So, and see more of that character. And then Black Noir, we get the origin of him where why doesn't he talk? Why don't we see his face before he is Noir? Right now, I'm not sure eventually if they put this in because of political reasons in the age of like 2020 or stuff like that. But what happens is, he's part of Payback, this team, and he's talking to a young Giancarlo Esposito who's there about like he's tired of like having the mask on, and Esposito's like, yeah, but masks with like faceless samurai mask ninjas do so well in the young boy demographic. Like your numbers are through the roof. Like you take that mask off, it's gonna plummet and stuff. And he just pitched like, I want people to know I'm black. I want to actually speak. I want to have a voice. And he's like, okay, you can do that. I just hope it goes well for you. Pretty much just saying one thing: either he's gonna tank in the numbers, or eventually Giancarlo is gonna do something to mess it up. Now, I'm not saying he's the one that burnt his face, but you could even have something where that shot was on purpose or something, because Giancarlo really wanted to shut that down, just have him as Black Noir, and that's what happened, where he's wanting to come out and be him actual self as Black Noir. But at the end of this like war flashback, he's looking like worse than Harvey Dent. His face, there's a bomb, his face and head are fucked up. Part of his mouth is like almost enclosed. So that's why that might be the reason he can't speak, because maybe he can't actually speak. So it was good to get some backstory on him, especially because like they just pose him as this, silent badass who might be just a danger, but they might look like they're one. He has some character of like he wanted to be himself. He wanted to let people know that this is a black superhero. And two, he has this tragic thing that happened in his face. He might be more of a tragic character than we realize. Now, why is he so close with Homelander? Why is Homelander his boy? That's what's going to be interesting, because if Homelander's your boy, there's something wrong with you, because I'm assuming he knows most of the shit that Homelander's been up to. So I'm curious that this is the most we ever got on Black Noir. It's like little nuggets and stuff like that, but I'm curious to see where it's all going to end up. So really like these episodes. I think I hit the majority of the major things. Like I said, I'll be back next week. I think Solo, I don't think Taylor will be there for that one, but if not, when he does get back, we'll catch him up on everything. I know Jessica wants to jump on a couple of these, so maybe she will, but yeah. So thank you very much for tuning in. And when you hear from me next, I promise you, it will not be boring.